Yeah, oh, too far. Okay, so I can't do like the cool walk-in or spin thing like Ross is doing on his channel. But that's all right. That's Ross's thing. What's going on, guys? Spring's here. Well, pretty much. It's 70 degrees out today. And today I've got 10 fresh fragrances that I'm excited to wear this spring. So join me. Let's do this. Cue that intro. What's going on, my beautiful fragrance family? Hope each and every one of you are doing freaking fantastic today. Welcome back to My2Scents. My name is Brian, and this is the channel all about helping boost your confidence through the art of fragrance and helping you become a lasting scent memory. All right, so spring is pretty much here. Well, at least for the great state of Tennessee. Again, our weather's like PMS. It doesn't know what it wants to do. So next week, it's probably going to be freezing again. But I'm going to enjoy this weather while it lasts. If it gets cold, it gets cold. Before we get into these 10 freshies that I'm going to be rocking this spring, let me know what fragrances you are looking forward to rocking this upcoming spring. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's whiffs and sniffs. First up on my list is coming from the house of nishane, and it's Calabria. Man, this is such an awesome fragrance. New to my collection, that's why I'm excited to wear it. I love nishane fragrances. In fact, I own a lot of nishane fragrances. Let me know if you want me to do a rank list of all my nishane fragrances. You know what to do. But Calabria, you would think being called Calabria, this is going to be a very thick, ambery fragrance. Though there is a beautiful amber in this that's creating a beautiful vanilla accord, Calabria is green through and through. Calabria starts out with bergamot and a lot of greens. I believe there's some galbanum in this as well, which is adding some density to that green facets. And then there's some green leaves. I think that's what the note breakdown calls for, but I just like to call them green notes. And they're a little watery. They've got a nice watery, dewy aspect to them. But there's also some nice floral aromatics flowing through the heart. But then really when it dries down, it's vanilla, that amber accord, that ambery vanilla, and a lot of musks. This is a long-lasting, beautiful springtime banger. You can find this at discounters. I got mine for a little over $100 for a 50 ml. 100% worth it. See if you can't find yourself a sampler or decant, but I'll tell you what, this is one that I am thoroughly going to be enjoying rocking this spring. So check out nishane Calabria. Next one's coming from an indie luxury niche brand that just popped out, and this is Myc, and this is Into Me for him. All right, I had to add a blue fragrance on here, and this is a beautiful blue. This is a very natural smelling blue fragrance. You're gonna have this beautiful jasmine. You have a touch of spices coming from ginger, but there's an awesome watermelon accord in here. And the watermelon gives this a really nice watery aspect, a really nice citrusy watery aspect. It's not a whole lot of like juicy watermelon. It's a nice watery watermelon. That just sounds redundant, but whatever. You're also gonna have a really nice woody base. This has some legs to it, and it's extremely fresh. It's refreshing. It's also very mass appealing. This is an attention grabber. Truly is. All the notes that are compiled in this composition really make this something to be enjoyed. Not just by you, but by everybody else. $150 for 100 ml. I think it's 100% worth it. You get a great presentation, an awesome bottle, and amazing juice. So if you're looking to, up your game, looking for a new blue this coming spring, definitely check out Myc Into Me for him. Well, of course I have to add an Terence Hughes fragrance on here. So I'm going to go with Adonis. Now, Adonis, man, this is a great signature scent, all right? I would rock this all the time as my signature scent if I didn't have all these frickin' bottles. Adonis has this really nice bergamot and peppermint combo right up top. And you definitely get that peppermint. And this is a really nice, creamy, minty, slightly spicy peppermint. You also have some vanilla, you have some woods, you have some patchouli. I believe there's some vetiver in this as well. But this thing is cram-packed with ingredients that make a perfect signature scent. It's got a lot of ambroxan in it to give it some power. Like Jeremy Fragrance says, So if you're looking at trying to find yourself a new signature scent, definitely check out Adonis from Terence Hughes. Coming out next comes from xerjoff, and this one is Fiero. Also, one of my favorite cars from the 90s, 80s, 90s, somewhere around there. Highly underrated car. They were kind of pieces of shit, but they were like the poor man's Ferrari. But this Fiero is definitely not the poor man's Ferrari. I have a 30 ml. That's enough for me. Bigger bottles are definitely going to cost more, but these 30 mls you can find popping up at fragrancebuy.ca for around 70 bucks. My opinion, totally worth it. I'm never going to go through this entire 30 ml. But this is made by one of my favorite perfumers, Chris Maurice. I've got a lot of favorite perfumers. This is cram packed with citrus up top. You're gonna get some lemon. I believe there's some green mandarin in here and some blood orange. I don't really pick up on green mandarin per se, but I do pick up on the lemon and I do get a little bit of that blood orange. This is gonna have a lot of green spices in it, like basil. I think there's also petitgrain in here. I believe there might also be a touch of mint, not a whole lot. You're also gonna get some darker spices like nutmeg, but that's gonna be further into the dry down. It has a beautiful coumarin in it, so it's giving it a nice sweetness, a little bit of an herbal and spicy quality in the dry down. And then in the full dry down, you're gonna get some sandalwood. I really like this fragrance. Now, the opening can be a little challenging for some. I could see some people not really enjoying it that much, but I freaking love it. Because once the opening, about, 4 or 5 minutes into it, man, this thing becomes a beast. If you like green fragrances, if you like spicy green fragrances that have a nice sweetness to them, definitely keep an eye out for xerjoff Fiero. Again, these 30 mls are totally an awesome way to go. Just saying. Nothing says spring like a bunch of ganja. Or a fragrance with a bunch of ganja in it. And that's Cannabis Blue from Fragrance du Bois. I love this fragrance. I absolutely love this fragrance. This is created by, again, another one of my favorite perfumers. This is Christian Provenzano, who also now has his own line of fragrances that are freaking fantastic. They're expensive, and so is this. But Cannabis Blue, awesome. I do have a 20% off discount code. I don't get any kickback from it or anything like that, but I'll leave it in the description if you're curious about picking this up. One thing that goes so well with cannabis, wacky tobacco, is grapefruit. And I love the grapefruit in this. Now this is gonna have grapefruit, then it's gonna roll into that nice cannabis. So the cannabis is, it smells like buds. It smells like the actual buds of cannabis. But I love that smell. It's herbal, it's green, it's got some citric qualities to it. It's got a little bit of bitterness to it and an underlying sweetness. You're also gonna get some spices in here, some green spices and some not so green spices. It's gonna have some patchouli and a nice woody base. Not the longest lasting fragrance. I spray quite heavily when I put this on, but I love what it does. And it's not a room filler. It doesn't project and just fill up a room. You're not gonna be walking around smelling like you just hotboxed your Fiero. I threw Fiero back in there. That's awesome. Anyways, Cannabis Blue is a great fragrance. If you like the note of cannabis and you're looking for a really good green, spicy, and woody fragrance, and it's, of course, more on the luxurious side, what can I say? I'm a bougie bitch. I can't help it. Fragrance du Bois Cannabis Blue is awesome. Get yourself a sample, get yourself a decant. Again, I will leave that discount code in the description. Go check it out. But Cannabis Blue is one that I'm really looking forward to rocking this spring. This next one, I rocked a decant of it all last spring. And I finally decided to pull the trigger and I picked up a bottle. And it's coming from Francesca Bianchi, and this is a Tuscan Water. Man, a Tuscan Water. This is such a sexy green fragrance. It's watery, it's green, it has beautiful musks, and they're very natural smelling musks. And the ambergris in this is phenomenal. So you're getting this nice salinity from it, and you're also getting the musky facets, and it's also polishing out all the harsher notes that are in the fragrance. But this starts out with a nice blast of citrus. And then, of course, you're gonna get some really nice green notes and all those musks and the ambergris and all those swirling around each other create a very sexy green experience. Francesca Bianchi does one thing. She makes very sexy fragrances. I don't know how else to describe her fragrances. Tuscan Water is not just green. It is mean and green. It's sexy. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it to you. If you're looking for a good attention-getting, even date night type of fragrance, I know some of you out there probably be like, I would never wear that on a date. I totally would rock this on a date. Last spring, when I actually rocked my decant of this, man, I turned some heads. I got some attention. It was very surprising because you wouldn't think it. But it does it, because the way that it wafts around you, man, Those musks make a sexy frickin' scent trail. So if you're looking at stepping up your game this spring, definitely check out Francesca Bianchi, Tuscan Water. All right, this next one, yet again, comes from one of my favorite perfumers. And this one comes from Printemps Rose, and it's Oliver. And this is from Stranger's Perfumery. Oliver, man. This is almost a fougere. Almost. This has an interesting note breakdown. You got some quince in there, which is a nice citrusy fruit, all right? Then you're also going to get some ambergris, a mojito accord, so you're getting this nice minty, lime, effervescent quality right up top. You also get some mandarin orange. Further, as it starts drying down, because this is kind of what I like to call everlasting gobstopper effect. This thing just goes through so many different transitions. In the full dry down, you're going to get some tobacco, which is actually kind of playing like a woody accord. So it's giving it some legs. It's also popping off all those other notes, some of the florals in it, and really giving this a sturdy backbone. I really enjoy this fragrance, and I'm looking forward to rocking it again this spring. I haven't busted it out since last spring, but this spring, I'll be rocking Stranger's Perfumery, Oliver. Next up comes from Commodity, and it's Bergamot. Now, Commodity Bergamot, they just relaunched, or they finally got in new stock of Bergamot in their entire line of single note fragrances. So they got Bergamot, they got vetiver, they got whiskey, they got milk, and all that jazz. But Bergamot is really good. If you like xerjoff Renaissance, then you're definitely gonna love this fragrance, because they smell quite similar. They're not exactly the same, but they smell quite similar. This is a lot cheaper. I think this is $120 for 100 ml. But Bergamot obviously has bergamot. It also has some clementine in it, just to add to that citrusy quality right up top. And this starts out creamy and citrusy. You're also gonna get mint to add to that creaminess. You're gonna get a nice minty quality and some jasmine, amongst other florals, just wafting around, swirling around each other in the heart. And then you finish off with some vetiver and a lot of musks. And I love the musks in this. This is a great one if you want to layer. If you have some sort of booster or something along those lines, or if you want to, layer this with another green fragrance or something that has a little bit more citrus or possibly more of a woody base to it, I would definitely layer this bad boy. Or on its own, it's a really good fragrance. I get good longevity. Good. I'm not saying great. About 6 hours longevity, and that's with me spraying on my clothes. But the scent profile alone is fantastic. And if you're thinking about getting xerjoff's Renaissance, I would check this one out first. I would get decants of both and see which one fits into your budget better. But this spring, I'm definitely going to be rocking Commodity Bergamot. I have not rocked this one in spring because I did not pick it up in spring, but I'm looking forward to rocking it. And it comes from Gallagher Fragrances, and it's Eau Vert. Now, Eau Vert, oh man. So I did a live with Ken over at CenSense on Instagram not too long ago, probably a few months ago, and we talked about and did an overview of Gallagher Fragrances. I love Daniel Gallagher's fragrances. I think he does a spectacular job of creating very unique and interesting fragrances. This is really citrusy and salty. You get this really nice sea salt that's really adding like a nice sea breeze to this, amongst lemon and mandarin, and then you get some nice cardamom that's adding a little bit of a cooling effect and a touch of spice. You're also getting some green facets from that cardamom. It's not just like your designer cardamom that's sweet and spicy and blah. No, this is a really nice cardamom. But you're also going to get beautiful vetiver, and there's something that vetiver does so well in the spring. And then supporting all that are these really nice clean musks. This is a very long-lasting fragrance on my skin. Now, again, I have not worn it in the spring or the summer, but I think this is going to be a banger. I have worn it in the colder months, and it actually is a little bit too much for the cooler months. But the spring, this is going to be a beast. And now you can get Gallagher fragrances in 50 mLs. I think they're only doing 50 mLs, not doing these 100 mLs anymore, and they have a brand new presentation. New bottle, new cap. Juice, though, staying the same. So this spring, I'm definitely looking forward to rocking Gallagher Fragrances Eau Vert. Last but not least comes from the House of Killian, and I have not worn this one in the spring as well, and this one is Lair Vert. Now, Lair Vert, absinthe. And this is one of the most realistic absinthe accords I've ever put my nose on. Honestly, this thing smells just like absinthe up top. And me, being a professional bartender for many, many years, I love the smell of absinthe. I love all the botanicals that create absinthe, the herbs, the spices, and everything that goes in to making absinthe. And they nailed it in this. You're gonna have absinthe, you're gonna have licorice, there's some really nice vetiver in here, and again, some musks. You're gonna have a nice woody dry down, but the green qualities of this make this thing perfect for the spring. I get good longevity out of this. Now, I have not rocked it in the spring, but I have rocked this in the fall, and it did really well. I really enjoy what it does because it's unique. It's not going to be for everyone, so I suggest getting a sample or decant, and if you don't like licorice and you don't like absinthe, definitely not going to be your jam. But since I love it so much, I'm so looking forward to rocking Lair Vert this spring. All right, there it is, guys. There's 10 fresh fragrances that I'm looking forward to rocking this spring. Let me know down below what some of your favorite fragrances are that you're looking forward to rocking this spring. But that's it for me today, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. And if you enjoyed today's content, then do me a favor and like, comment, share, and subscribe. And always remember, you are stinking beautiful. And until next time, happy scent trails.